Hey guys, how's it going? Over the last like 2 or so weeks, I've been playing around with Kakoune a little bit. And what Kakoune is a text editor, which is in some ways similar to Vim, but the idea is that instead of motions being like verb followed by a noun, so like to delete a word, you would do DW for delete word. Kakoune flips that and goes noun followed by verb. For example, W highlights the word, D deletes the word, which in my opinion is pretty cool. It lets you kind of see what you're doing before you do it. It's not like a life-changing paradigm shift or whatever, but it's very interesting and it feels kind of good to use. So for like a better example, so for example, if I wanted to like rename this max saves variable here, I can do it really easily by pressing % to highlight your entire buffer, S, which brings up a search. I can type max saves to grab all the max saves words. C deletes the word and opens up your insert where you deleted the word at. I could type like, I don't know, saved or whatever right there, and now where every time it was max saves, now it is just saved. As you can see, it's very easy to kind of understand. It's very like spelled out the entire way through doing something like that. So yeah, that's the idea. So a lot of my work recently has been in React and TypeScript code bases. Kakoune works pretty well out of the box. I did set up a few things to get it working how I would like. I do want to do like a config and setup video at some point. I want to like play around with it some more to kind of actually know what I'm doing. So far, though, it's very simple. I set up a TypeScript language server and then Prettier, which is a formatter, as well as a fuzzy finder here, which I think is going to be my next little talking point. So in Vim, you typically will use something like oil as like a file explorer, which makes getting around repositories very easy. Kakoune doesn't really have a alternative like that. It just kind of goes against its philosophy. But I did install its fuzzy finder as I find it very convenient. It's called Panera, maybe? I don't really know how to say it. Like this, I think is how it's spelt. So opens up in the inside the buffer. So if I press space twice, it lets me like search for whatever, and it's all like one buffer. And then I can press space tab, and it brings up all the tabs I have open. If I wanted to go to like car selection settings or whatever, I could just do it very easily inside that. So despite there being like no file tree at all, I really don't find it too hard to get around code bases between being able to like go rep your code base and then your fuzzy finder and whatnot. I think it's very easy and convenient to get around. Kind of, I guess, on that notion of, I think Kakoune's philosophy is like very like, it like does one thing. It's like a very Unixy philosophy. Like when you install like NeoVim or like LazyVim, like it becomes everything. Like it becomes your terminal, it becomes your file explorer, your text editor, etc. Kakoune just isn't that. So being able to like split your window in half and be able to like have a terminal like that is very convenient for stuff even like with like Git or splitting windows and terminals and whatnot. It's like Kakoune doesn't like re-implement it, and you don't need to, right? Like you already have a terminal, and you already have like in the terminal you can get through your file system and you can use Git and all that stuff. It's like you don't really need to reinvent the wheel inside of your text editor, but it's fun. I enjoy it. So kind of in the spirit of having fun, I came up with some examples ahead of time that I want to kind of like show to highlight kind of how some things work in Kakoune. Okay, so my first example is if you look at this slider component here, if I wanted to take its props and set these like equal signs to be like equally spaced from each other. So I want to indent the equal signs equally. I think it's probably the word I'm looking for. I could do that very easily. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to delete this line because it makes it not easy. Okay, so Alt-I brings up a select intersurrounding objects deal, as you can see in the bottom right. And we're going to look for the indent, and that's what that's going to do is it's going to highlight all the indented like things, and then by pressing Alt-S, it's going to it's going to put a cursor on every single line, and then S is going to bring up the select, and we are going to want to type equal, and then by doing that, we can press ampersand, and boom, now all of these equal signs are now like indented to be be in line. I don't know why that's like so hard for me to say. And if you're curious, the reason why I deleted that on value change down there is not because it's like a big deal. It's just like you would need to come up with like a nasty regex string, like something like this should work. Yeah, and then you can get it to work. The issue was that if you look over here, your arrow function like equal sign is not actually the equal sign that you want to align your stuff with. But I mean, that's kind of whatever. And then another fun example we could do, if we go over to footer, okay, on line 4 and 16. If you want to change those divs to be like sections or something, it's very easy. Once again, percent sign to highlight the entire buffer. Then we're going to kind of filter down which part we want selected. We want to do this, just the divs for now. And now that's confusing to highlight the divs. C, again, erases your selection and then opens up your insert and one type section. We can like that. And then, oops, sorry, I messed up. Okay, boom, sorry. And then there it is. That's our, we replaced the div with section. So it's very easy. It's kind of nice to be able to see what's going on as you're doing it. I'm quite a fan of that. So for the next example, we want to kind of set up a unordered list of like, I don't know, gallery, about, contact, whatever. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this unordered list and turn it into an ordered list. And we can do that in kind of like a similar fashion. I'm sure you guys are catching along at this point. Oops. We want to select in between the indented things in between the unordered list. And then if we want to do this, underscore is going to bump your selection column back one. And then I is going to grab the front, and then we want to just type, oops, li for the ordered list, escape, capital A brings you to the end of the line. Then we can finish this off with a closing tag, escape, and then we just turned this unordered list into now an ordered list. That's all very cool. So something else that's kind of fun that you can do lets you pipe selections through shell commands. So like, for example, in this Spring presets here, if I wanted to reverse all the labels, I could do that if I kind of like select floaty, and then if I bring out this menu again, press I to select everything, bring out this menu again, we're gonna do S to select. We're going to bring out this nasty regex string, which I'm not doing off the top of my head. I wrote it down. I don't know regex as well. And that's going to select everything inside the parentheses. And then if we bring out the pipe, we can type reverse or rev, and that's going to reverse the strings inside of or it's going to reverse the strings in the labels. So that's pretty fun. So basically, it's just going to take each selection and then pipe it through a shell command, and then swaps the output. Or then swaps in the output, I should say. Anyway, this is cool because you can use any shell tool, and it becomes like a multi-cursor like operation. But anyway, that's just kind of the stuff I've learned about Kakoune over the last couple weeks. Overall, like, I wouldn't particularly recommend someone switch to Kakoune. I feel like the ecosystem is pretty small, especially coming from Vim, but I do really like the noun followed by verb philosophy. I think it's very interesting and very cool. I think it's a better way of doing it, but it's kind of like hard to switch, and I don't really think that you get too much benefit other than just kind of like doing something different, which I don't really know if it matters. Anyway, I want to do a config video on Kakoune later date. I just want to kind of still work on my config and figure stuff out, but maybe one day I'll do that. So I guess stay tuned for that, but I hope you learned something or were at least a little bit entertained, and thank you for watching.